VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 690, recorded on July 17th, 2023.
Welcome to the 690th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 523rd episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Dinzer.
I am Scott Durr.
I am Jordan Lund.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Right, so we have I'm older than Jordan, but I mean, a previous host on, Jordan Lund, who's back. I don't know when the last time you did this thing.
Years. It's been years.
Yeah, I remember you sticking your feet in the camera for that.
The big thing that slowed me down was a heart attack and open heart surgery. So I've been working from home for over 5 years now, and it's been challenging.
You did it before it was cool.
I did it before it was cool. That is absolutely true.
Anyways, we're not going to do with what you've been playing, although I know that TJ there is just burning with wanting to talk about Jagged Alliance 3, but we're not going to have time for it this year. Yeah. It's gotten very positive. I'm surprised it's not overwhelmingly positive.
I've been having fun with my Steam Deck.
Yeah?
Oh.
Yep.
Hey, TJ, do you have a Steam Deck?
I don't.
Okay. I don't understand the Steam Deck. If you have a PC, why would you want to pretend you have a console? That's my only
Because you could play your console or PC games in bed, like Trials to Sky, for instance. I could play that in bed if I wanted to, instead of having to sit at my computer desk.
Yeah, but you're not.
And I don't have a PC. I'm talking to you now from my work laptop.
Oh, okay.
My work laptop.
Okay. I was about to say, but you're not going to play Civilization 6 from that, were you going to do, Scott?
Probably not, no. But then again, I could try. I never, that might actually be interested in trying to see if that works.
Let me ask you a question. What episode is the Polycast now on?
I have no idea. I have to look it up.
Okay, don't bother, because we're getting ready to have number 700 soon, and 700 is rarefied air for a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. But fortunately, we have something to talk about that's important. Now, here's the thing: when the FTC was denied, it happened the day after we record our last podcast. So we had a decision: either do an immediate, 30-minute podcast append to the end of the old one, or just talk about it in the next week. I ultimately decided next week because there was still the CMA, and we have news about the CMA now. Anyways, just for the quick news, after more than 2 years of work, Cyberpunk 2077 finally reached a very positive user rating on Steam. It has been long in coming, hasn't it, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, probably good to go maybe 3 months ago. Well, maybe more than that, because I remember jumping into that game over the holidays and actually enjoying it as I was trying to find stuff to fill my time.
Okay.
And, it was like night and day between when the game first came out and late last year.
The problems with Cyberpunk 2077 had nothing to do with the bugs. It just had to deal with just the character design. Not the character design as in graphics, but I mean all the perks that meant nothing. Otherwise, I still love Night City. It's the most immersive city I've ever been in any game.
It's a pretty great environment, like as far as just keeping you in it and keeping you in the vibe. Like it feels alive. It feels like a character.
That's why it felt meaningful when my ending was leaving Night City and staying with that woman, I forgot her name, out in the boondocks, all the way in the desert. And it felt meaningful because Night City was so alive, and it's like saying, yeah, I'm not gonna stay there. Anyways, we did all the showcases. We did the Xbox, we did the Sony, we did the Nintendo, we did the Ubisoft, we did the Devolver Digital, we did Oh, who else was? Oh, Capcom. And there's one last showcase to do, and that's the ID at Xbox Digital Showcase. And some pretty good stuff there. One of the things they showed was the sequel to Axiom Verge. It's Axiom Verge 2. I never played the first Axiom Verge, but I know everybody loves that game.
Yeah, and Axiom Verge has been out on a few other platforms Axiom Verge 2 has been out on a few other platforms for a bit. I think this was it finally coming to Xbox.
I guess.
Because I remember playing it on a live stream last year. It's a fun game.
We also have Birth, which is a weird ass game. Did you see what?
Oh yeah, I've heard about Birth. Yeah,
It's like a cartoon version of, oh god, what was the name of that game? Scorn. Like a cartoon version of Scorn, but with puzzles. It's like for very disturbed mothers, you know.
It looks very creepy.
Yeah. But hey, it's the day before my birthday that it comes out. Dreamers looks interesting. It's
Let me see what we have here. Places. I've never heard of them. I don't think. Let me see who they are.
It's an exploration game. It sort of perversely reminds me of Stardew Valley in a way. Then Everspace 2 is coming out to the Xbox Series X and S finally. There's a console debut. I played a bit of it on PC, and I guess I went to places I shouldn't go. I'm not used to, flying to a place where you're not supposed, but it told me to go there. And I just got my ass handed to me. So
similarly in RPG, you have to level up and get like the weapons and equipment and stuff you need for your ship.
Yeah.
So there's a multiplayer Switch game coming, which unfortunately I can't remember the name of. That's similar to that. It's almost like they took Animal Crossing and added an exploration contingent to it. But as near as anybody can tell, there's no combat. It's just, an inventory system, and now with exploration. It could be interesting to see where that goes, and online multiplayer. So, you have other people to wander with, but you can't fight anything or anyone. So,
that's the main complaint about Starfield is that there's no co-op.
Yeah.
Have you played Everspace 2, TJ? I know you dug the first game.
I played it in early access. I haven't gotten back to it since it had its full release.
Okay. There's a new Hellboy game. Hellboy more Web of Word. And it's your basic action brawler, roguelike, 2D. And I can't remember any other Hellboy games. I know there was one on the SNES, I think.
There have been a couple of other Hellboy games. I think this is the first one to actually involve Mike Mignola, though, which is kind of cool.
And Dark Horse Comics.
Platformer Hellboy game, I thought. A platformer one?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, every game in that era was platformer, really. I don't know many games that were on the SNES that wasn't a platformer. Okay. You can shoot me for that one. They finally revealed the last two games of the Jackbox Party Pack, and I have all of them. I have 1 through 9 and every single expansion simply because I'm on a press list and they send it to me. But I make good use of them. I'm really looking forward to Hypnotorious. Apparently, they have to guess who you are, sort of like Spy. Oh damn, what's the name of that spy game? Spycraft, Spyfall. Then they have Karateka's coming back, and I played Karateka on the original C64. I did not know there was a remake for the Xbox 360 and PS3 way back in the day, back in 2012.
That was such a good game. The animation on it was just amazing.
Well, of course, it's Jordan Mechner, because his next game would be Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Monolith Requiem.
I enjoyed the heck out of that game.
I never was able to beat it.
Yeah. I did finish it. Yes.
I never finished it. See.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was always like if the eagle, whatever that bird was, I think it was an eagle or a falcon. If the next guy would beat me, it's like I could not anticipate that stupid falcon. Monolith Recommendations looks real interesting. It's how do I describe it? It's like Zelda on acid, maybe. It's an action RPG. It's 3D. It's no, I'm sorry. Tunic on acid, which is like Zelda on acid and acid.
Oh, I like the character designs. They're cute.
Yeah, it's very Tunicish in its character design, except it's a lot larger and the areas are it's not as constrictive as Tunic. But yeah, it has combos and all that stuff. It looks very interesting. I might add these are not exclusive to Microsoft, but I'm pretty sure. The thing is that the thing with the ID thing is that they always release demos for each and every game that they show, so you can play the demo on Xbox. Myth Force is another roguelike, except this one's a 4-player online co-op multiplayer roguelike, and it looks really, really good too.
Yeah, just like that full cell shaded design in first person adventuring. Looks fun.
I can't wait to see how it is. We need another Castle Crashers. I think it's time for another one.
Behemoth hasn't done. I can't think of the last thing that they did. I think it was like Battle Block Theater.
Yeah, they did Battle Block Theater. You're thinking of Behemoth Games.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done lately either. I'm gonna have to check some point. Next one that's really, really big is Rain World Downpour, and they're actually bundling it as Rain World and Rain World Downpour on the Xbox 360. I'm going to tell you something. This game has the best AI you'll ever see. Have you seen this game?
No.
Yeah.
Well, one of you answer first.
I haven't played it, but I have seen it in action. I know a lot of people that are just hardcore, huge fans of it.
Because your actions determine the AI of the creatures, and here's the thing: the creature AI is unbelievable. They've done videos talking about how this is the first game to really do an ecosystem well. Jordan, you haven't seen this. You haven't seen this before?
No, I have not. No.
Yeah, you should check it out. What's it called? Videos about about people talking about the game. The animation is very much. You ever see the game Carrion, right?
Carrion does not ring a bell. No.
Really? You haven't played Carrion? The graphics are similar to Carrion. It's sort of like a voxel thing. Next is Roman Sands. This one is a weird one. It's how do I describe this? It is like a city builder, not a city builder. Like Zoo Tycoon, that sort of thing.
City builder, huh? Let me have a look at this.
It's like city. It's like you cross. You cross a city builder with what was the name of that game? Papers, Please. It's like one of those things in which you have to convince people to help you, basically.
It's very interesting art style. I don't know if I like it or not. It's like.
Here's the thing: you're trying to build a luxury retreat, but everybody has their own motivation. Hey, think of it as Jagged Alliance, except with a tycoon game for a luxury retreat.
There's something about it that's like cartoonish, but also abstract at the same time.
It's very dark because the sun will swallow the world at some point. So in that way, it's like what's the name of that time travel game? The Outer Wild.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
No, The Outer Wild. The next game is the Scarlet Deer Inn, which looks really, really good. It uses a cloth. Everything looks like it's made out of tapestry, right? And it's a side scroller. It's inspired by Studio Ghibli and various other things. Think of it as sort of like a Metroidvania, except in medieval times. And the next game I know that Scott is going to talk endlessly about, and that's Sea of Stars, which is based, and there's a demo now available. All of them have demos, but this one is a traditional JRPG alike. It's a Western studio. Go ahead, Scott. You can talk about it since you backed it.
Yes, I backed it in 2020, and it's basically like you said, a JRPG pixel 2D top-down game, and it's based basically on these solstice warriors who are born on the summer or winter solstice, and then they get trained to, I guess defend the world or defend balance, basically. And it has really nice combat. You have some timing mechanics where if you hit the button as an attack happens or a spell is executed, you get a little extra bonus. It's based in the same world as the Messenger, but it's like 1,000 or 10,000 years apart. So it's a completely different era, and it will have DLC eventually. And yeah, it's going to be on all the platforms: Sony, Xbox, Switch, and Steam PC. And there's demos on everything but the PlayStation at the moment, but that's coming shortly. So that'll be for everyone to try it out. A lot of people seem to like the game. It's getting a lot of hype and a lot of excitement. If you liked games like Chrono
It's a
Trigger,
JRPG basically.
It's JRPG. Yeah.
It's an old school 16-bit JRPG.
Yeah, and the characters have combos, so that's a little bit like Chrono Trigger there. And then some people feel like there's Golden Sun vibes when they play this game or see the demo. The demo basically takes part in a non-spoilerish part of the story where you get some puzzles, you get some combat, you get to explore a city a little bit, and so you get an idea of what the game is going to be like. So it has, I think it has a good balance of humor and action and puzzle solving, some environmental puzzles, and yet straight. You can crawl over everything. There's a ledge, you can crawl up it, you can jump in the water and swim. So always keep that in mind when you're exploring the game. There might be something that you can actually climb or get to if you just try.
Moving ahead, there's
the image on the splash screen reminds me a lot of Lunar Silver Star Story, which was a great game.
From what I thought it said, it was like, I misread the title. I thought it was going to be like a sequel to Star Ocean game. It's not, but it's just the title made me think, oh, it's a Star Ocean game.
They were careful not to call it Star Ocean because of Star Ocean. So yeah,
moving ahead, Stray Souls, and when this aired, everybody thought that, oh my God, they got PT back. This game is very much a Silent Hill game and very much like PT. Have you seen it?
Looks like they got Silent Hill's composer to work on it too.
Yeah, Akira Yamaoka.
That's pretty great. He's good. Like, say what you want about The Medium by Bluebird Team, but the music in that game is awesome.
And moving ahead, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Well, guess what? Friday the 13th, the game may have run out of its license, and that's really sad because, it's like, sorry, we lost the license. We're going to have to shut down the game completely.
They showed a new trailer for this game today.
Yeah, that was the one from it was the one from the ID at Xbox thing.
And holy hell, it was the closest thing I've ever seen to Friday the 13th the game since Friday the 13th the game. Like,
here's what I hope. I hope they own the license so that they don't have to shut it down at some point. Right.
But I'm talking about not just being hunted by the killers, but also fighting back. And being able to use tools to defend yourself.
Well, this one is actually 3 versus 4.
Yeah. And good Lord, they showed some of the kill animations too, and they're brutal. With a real mean one.
Yeah, you're just shoving someone's face into a chainsaw.
So mean. Yeah. Like, they know what they're doing. They've been through this rodeo before, so I have some strong beliefs that they'll be able to make this work.
Yeah. Unlike the other one, this is 3 versus 4, not 1 versus 4. So, because if you know about something about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a family that you come upon, not just one pissed off zombie.
Yep. Yeah, all the creeps.
Yeah. They showed off some more Vampire Survivors, showing off that it's going to now have 4-player couch co-op.
And they're working on, and my understanding is that they're also working on online co-op to implement in the game eventually.
Yeah. And finally, Worldless. It's a sort of like Dark Souls, except with Dark Cells meets Dark Cells. Dead Cells. It's like Dead Cells meets Ori in the Blind Forest.
That sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, the graphics are very light based, but but the gameplay is pure Dead Cells.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that one too. Anyways, we're going to get to the news, and here's the one that we're all going to have comments about. The CMA extends the deadline of the final decision over Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, although I really should call it by its full name, Activision Blizzard King, because there's a reason. King is an important part of this. The CMA will no longer make its final order on the Activision Blizzard merger next week, the regulator has announced. Originally, the CMA was expected to block the deal formally on July 18th, but Microsoft has submitted a quote-unquote detailed and complex proposal that says there's been changes in circumstances. Microsoft has suggested that the CMA should not adopt its plans to block the deal as a result. The CMA says that there is not enough time to consider Microsoft's submission thoroughly, and so has decided to extend the period in which to look at the proposal by 6 weeks. The revised period will now end at August 29th, although the CMA hopes to reach a conclusion before that time. I'm going to have some comments about that. Microsoft has been hoping to complete the deal by July 18th. Otherwise, it faces paying Activision Blizzard. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, it faces paying Bobby Kotick $3 billion. This is self-imposed deadline, and Microsoft and Activision could negotiate an extension. Microsoft can also complete the deal with the expectation that the CMA will eventually approve the deal. By that, they mean put the money in an escrow, which means it's been paid, but it's not going to be done until the deal is done, right? You put it in a bank in escrow, and then when everything's done, it moves. But you're considered to have paid. But there was an update today. Microsoft and the CMA asked the UK court for a pause to consider Activision tweaks. UK judge at London's Competition Appeal Tribunal is. I love the British thing. The Competition Appeal Tribunal. It sounds like something you'd see in a sci-fi thing like Space 1999. You know.
It sounds like somebody's committed a war crime. Is what it sounds like. It's throw out the word tribunal.
Yeah, it's not in Nuremberg. Nuremberg's Competition Appeal Tribunal. It's set to consider whether Microsoft's proposed restructuring of its biggest gaming deal offers a way to sidestep the UK's veto decision. In an unprecedented move, of course, the CMA has agreed to give Microsoft a second chance to tweak the deal to allay its competition concerns. Both the Competition and Markets Authority and Microsoft are seeking to suspend a legal challenge to the veto decision at the tribunal. The companies are considering giving up some of the control of the cloud gaming business in the UK as a way to clinch the deal, Bloomberg has reported. This is complete and utter horseshit because the CMA knew about all this in June. They held off until yesterday. And a lot of people are saying, well, the head of the CMA, is what's called is an ex-Sony employee. That's fine. I don't care. I think what they saw was when the FTC was denied, they said, oh, shit, we're going to be the only country that's not going to be in on this.
Yeah, they made that call like the day after the FTC decision came down.
It's like it wasn't just the FTC either. It was the European authorities first who said, no, it's cool with us.
Yeah, and that you know what that made me laugh? I was wondering, hey, is the CMA blocking this because of Brexit? It's like, oh, the EU did this? Well, fuck that. We're the UK. We're going to go against the EU.
Exactly. But how does that, from a corporate standpoint, how is that supposed to work for Microsoft? They can't just go, oh, yeah, we're going to release, Call of Duty worldwide. Oh, except UK.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to do. Actually, that was the threat.
So there is another twist in this story that came down, I think yesterday, actually.
Well, this is an update for today.
Yeah, I know, but it's not listed here in any of our notes, so I just wanted to bring up that Sony and Microsoft signed a deal officially, a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on both Xbox and PlayStation platforms.
Yeah, the standard 10 years.
Which was kind of the crux of this whole thing in the first place.
And here's the thing: the CMA decided it was going to cooperate with Microsoft right after Sony signed.
Yeah, so that was an 11th hour decision by Microsoft, and I have to wonder if
it wasn't an 11th hour by Microsoft.
I mean, but it was because now we've got the CMA, which blocked their deal, and usually when the CMA blocks something, that's it.
Here's the thing, though. The main crux here is that the FTC and the CMA did all this stuff way too late. They held off. Like I said, the CMA had all the information in June, but didn't act on it till now. The FTC had it even longer than that. They didn't act until way too late.
The CMA I will say, knows what it's doing. The FTC acted incompetently.
Well, the CMA said, I'm going to have to wait for this. There was rumors, I don't know if this is true, that had Sony just agreed to the, maybe it's a PlayStation fanboy thing, because I can't find any confirmation from this except speculation, that had Microsoft not had to go through all these hoops, they might have made a 10-year agreement with Sony for Call of Duty and some other stuff. I find that hard to believe, but who knows? We'll never know now. Well, here's the thing. In 10 years, we'll know. We're going to have a lot of stories coming out of this in 10 years.
They should have pushed for Starfield 2, so I don't have to see if my PC can run it in, September?
Well, I have Game Pass Ultimate, which means I can stream it.
Because I'm not buying an Xbox for that game. I don't care how good it is.
Just get it.
My prediction in 10 years is that they're going to be going after EA next.
No. Here's the thing about Activision Blizzard King. It was a wounded duck. The same way that ZeniMax was a wounded duck. And Microsoft dove in because there was a lot of shit going on in Blizzard, and the stock prices were lowering and all that stuff. And Bobby Kotick wanted a way out. And it's like Microsoft said, fuck it, we're just going to do it.
Microsoft also wanted a larger market share of mobile gaming.
Oh, yeah, that's I was about to say, that's the King part. People don't understand. That is huge. If you want something with a profit margin, mobile games. Cheap to make, makes billions of dollars.
Candy Crush is still like one of the most played games right now out there.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and Whimsy was talking about this, is that video games do not have as much growth as you might think. You know? There's not as much growth in that. There's more growth than, say, an operating system. But in order to have true growth, you got to get your hands on some sweet, sweet mobile games. Because that is a good way to get some growth. And I was, here's the thing. When Sony started bleeding, without Call of Duty, the PlayStation brand will be destroyed. I was, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
No, nobody bought that.
Yeah,
Nobody.
that obnoxious.
And then Sony and the FTC tried to say, well, Nintendo doesn't count. Nintendo doesn't count.
That's such bullshit.
And it's
I
like,
spend 200 hours playing, Tears of the Kingdom.
well, here's the thing. It's not that. Microsoft had to show that the Switch is $50 more than the Xbox Series S and only $50 less than a PlayStation 5. They had to show that the console itself cost a lot and the games cost a lot. So it's not like they're dealing with some speak and spell, that just sells millions and millions, but it's not a real console, no, is it? Or cell phone games, Nintendo's not a cell phone game. Although I will say this, Sony made a complete blunder in another way. I wonder if they knew if you're going to have people going to court, there's something we like to call discovery.
Yep.
And oh boy, all your dirty little secrets are going to be exposed for everyone to see. I think Sony forgot about that.
That was a thing for like everyone involved too, because the games industry is so very secretive about and so high up on embargoes and keeping things mum and not and NDAs and all that. And this court just like put a lot of high priority stuff right out in the open. Plans, concepts.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We all knew that a PlayStation 5 Slim was coming. I mean, it's standard. You had a PlayStation 1 Slim, 2 Slim, 3 Slim, 4 Slim, 5. A mid-gen, console is always going to happen. But was anybody expecting them to be planning a Switch-like PlayStation Portable?
That's not really Switch-like, though. I mean, it's.
Is it going to be like a Vita or is it going to be like a Switch?
No, it's not going to be like either because it has no games of its own.
What?
It is strictly a portable.
It's going to be like a Steam Deck. Okay.
It's going to be like a Wii U.
No, it's
going to be like one of those NVIDIA controllers that you can play streaming from your system.
It streams the games from the PS5. That's all it does.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's better than the PlayStation. What was it? What was it called again? Not Pass. They had something that was similar that you could play PlayStation off your Vita.
Yeah, the Remote Play, which
sucked.
It works. It works on my tablets. It works on my phone. There's no reason to have another device that does remote play and remote play only. And that's what's going to end up killing this device from Sony is that why should I spend $300 on the device from Sony when I can already do it on my existing tablet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing.
My Steam Deck. It streams to my Steam Deck too. I can stream both my Xbox and my PS5 to my Steam Deck. That has saved me from, being bedridden a lot of the time is being able to access the consoles from another room.
It's also a good way for Game Pass owners who still have an Xbox One to play something like Starfield because then you just stream it on your Xbox One. Speaking of streaming, I was going to point this out, except the stupid article, the stupid subsequent article spoiled it. The way that Microsoft's going to get around the CMA's complaint about streaming, and oh, by the way, the CMA showed no intelligence about streaming. They seem to think that Microsoft was going to own the streaming space. For one thing, it was only going to be streaming for the Xbox. They do not have any streaming for the PC. And also, Google tried it and failed. And really, they just showed that Google does not know how to do business because you're not going to pay for a subscription. Then you have to pay for the games. Like, you're going to pay this much a month, but still have to spend $70 for Doom Eternal? Really?
And they had no exclusives, and they
had Guilt. They had Guilt, which is now out on console, and they had that creation game, which was like Media Molecule's Dreams, except worse. Creata. That was the name of the game. Creata. Yeah, it cratered. Here's the thing. Google's the only one who could have pulled off the Stadia, and they fucked it up so badly. Here's the thing with Google, and some people have told this to me. Google does too much of experimentation and doesn't really do anything. They just do things for the hell of it, just to see if they can, and don't take it seriously. I don't think they took Stadia seriously at all.
Meanwhile, Amazon Luna is sitting over in its corner like, I'm here. I still play games and I still have stuff. There's still new stuff coming out. Pay attention, please.
We have a deal with Ubisoft. You can play Ubisoft games on us.
Or Amazon Luna.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't count, it's Google and Amazon for gaming.
Okay, I will say this, though. Amazon, once it starts taking this shit seriously, because they did have, it wasn't an MMO, it was a live service game that was on Steam that was super hot for like a hot minute. What was it called? Dangerous Worlds, Real World, something like that. And people loved it, and then they didn't back it. See, that's the thing about Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony. The reason why they succeed is that when they start a project, they don't do it half-assed. They don't do it because, hey, they're doing it. So it's like Amazon and Google were doing the dark what's it called, cinematic universe. Oh, we have these properties. Let's do it. Let's do it as lazy as possible.
Yep.
The thing that kills me about the streaming market is that it reminds me very much of the early days of the CD market. Remember when CD gaming systems first came out, and you had the Sega CD, obviously, but then you had all of these other big electronics companies trying to do set-top boxes, right? You had the Philips CDI, you had the Tandy Viz.
The last time Nintendo ever trusted anybody with their properties.
The last time Nintendo trusted anybody with Zelda. But it all failed because these other big electronics companies didn't know what to do with it. And that's the same thing with Google and Stadia. They didn't know what to do with it. There will be some streaming leader that comes out probably in the next 3 years.
You're talking about gaming streaming, right?
Gaming streaming.
Yeah. Okay.
Gaming streaming is still very primitive. We had that other streaming company before Stadia.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
PC exclusive, and they were way too early. Way too early.
Well, that was the problem with the Xbox One. It was way too. What they wanted to do with the Xbox One was way too early.
Yeah.
Now I can't. Yeah.
Sometime in the next 3 years, somebody will nail it, and maybe Microsoft, it may be somebody else. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And just like the CD technology didn't really take off until the PlayStation came out.
Well, Microsoft is investing heavily into the cloud, which is basically what you need for streaming. So they're thinking about, you're gonna build flashlights, or we're gonna build the batteries for it.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft is also like Microsoft is already entering the game. They're just in beta. They've gone very slow with Microsoft Cloud Gaming, and with good reason. Because you're right, it is primitive technology, and they still need to implement it better. And a huge part of that is that there are a lot of areas in the world where there's just not good internet.
Right.
And that's where cloud gaming suffers.
Well, we talked about this yesterday. Finally, the government is going to create a nationwide internet upgrade.
Yep. And that's why, it feels sensible that Microsoft is biding their time with this while also building the infrastructure to, blow it out of the water when it comes time.
Here's the thing, though. At some point, I don't know if it's going to be in 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, but at some point, the internet will have to be utility. You have water, gas, electric, telecommunications, and internet. You have to. It has to be a utility and regulated like a utility because that's what's going to. It already is a utility.
It already, yeah. I was going to say it already is a utility. It's just not. It's just
not regulated.
Regulated that way. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do anything without internet. I wouldn't have a job.
Because here in New York, we keep on talking about having free wireless for everybody. Just having wireless towers for everybody. At some point, that's going to happen. I mean, the only thing that's going on are those stupid Google kiosks which offer internet. But I don't trust them because they also pass on your information to Google. So.
I have been told that I have fiber in my neighborhood now, and unfortunately, I'm still locked to a Comcast contract that has a year left on it. At the end of that, I'll be looking at the fiber.
I have a half a terabyte right now with Spectrum, and what's nice is that not many other people do, so it often goes up to 600 megabit, MPS, so it's sort of like, no one else is using it. Not that it's doing me any good because Twitch won't allow me to stream it at a resolution higher than 1080p anyway, even though I can do it. I know the reasons for it, but it seems like such a waste.
Comcast has some data caps, which I've hit a couple of times.
Oh, thank God.
If you've got multiple systems all trying to do updates all at once, you're going to hit the data cap.
Yeah,
forget about downloading games. Just the system updates alone are enough to kill you.
Thank God I don't have a data cap on mine. But getting back to this is that what I was going to talk about was that Microsoft is just going to Microsoft is going to be in the UK is going to have to go through a third party to have the cloud. So in order to use it, you have to sign in with a different company who's going to be a proxy for Microsoft. And that's how they're getting around CMA's worry that Microsoft's going to dominate the entire. Here's the thing. The time to worry about this was back when Microsoft was putting out Windows and became the de facto OS for everybody. Having, 80% of the market or something like that? That was the time to worry about. It's too late to deal with Windows, guys. That ship has sailed.
Hey, Linux is 3% now.
Oh, yeah? What about iOS? At some point, I have to get another iPad at some point, just because I have so many apps that I'm not using anymore. But
just delete them.
No, God, no. I spent money for those apps, damn it. So here's the question: is when will this finally be closed and we can stop talking about it? Some people think it's going to be tomorrow. When the deadline is, and some people think it's going to be like August 2nd. Something like that, which is a date that the CMA talked about.
I think that the Sony and Xbox signing of the Call of Duty deal today moves that timeline up so much faster than it did.
Yeah, I agree there too.
Any kind of merger or acquisition like this, even if you take the legal complaints out of it, takes forever in a day.
It took 18 months so far. It was 18 months
so far. And it wouldn't surprise me. I am involved in another acquisition myself right now that I can't talk about that has been going on for 24 months.
So when you think about it, the Microsoft purchase of ZeniMax was lightning fast.
Yeah.
That was it was like two months maybe, something like that. It was lightning fast.
And buying Mojang and In Exile and Obsidian, those were pretty quick.
Yeah, but no one cares about you buying an individual developer. I mean, Sony tried to make a noise by buying Bungie for $4 billion, which I think I think they did know they were grossly overpaying for Bungie. And now, oh God, there's so much drama going on with Destiny 2. I don't understand, but I know a lot of people who are really, really upset at what's going on with Destiny 2.
What's going on with Destiny 2?
DJ, you want to explain?
Oh, I haven't followed exactly why people are mad this time, but
There's the problem this time, right?
Oh,
it's a live service game with one of the largest hardcore communities in the world. Of course, they're always mad about something.
no, but there's something else going on. I'm going to look this up quickly.
I dropped Destiny 2 when they cut out 3/4 of the content I paid for.
Yeah,
And I haven't touched it since.
That's last year's controversy.
Okay, yeah, this. Some
Oh yeah,
some Bungie store scam stuff.
Yeah, the Lightfall DLC has caused a lot of controversy, and that a lot of people think that Bungie has no plan. And I want to tell them, of course Bungie has no plan. They've never had a plan. They've never had. The first Halo, then Halo 2. Oh my God. People forget that Bungie doesn't know how to finish what it makes. You know?
Oh, the J.J. Abrams. Okay.
Well, no, even worse than that. It's like, no, they're more like Peter Molyneux.
Oh.
Let's take 2 years to screw around and then try to finish what we started in the last 6 months of the project.
And my God, are they lucky that Halo 2 and Halo 3 were the biggest selling games ever? Because that gave, and also Halo Reach, you have to admit, is really good. Halo Reach was really good. It was the best of them.
Halo single player is really good.
Reach wasn't Bungie, was it?
Yes, it was Bungie. Yeah, it was Bungie.
Was it?
Halo 3 ODST was not Bungie. It was a bunch of guys at Bungie who screwed around, and Bungie said, hey, let's make that into a game. And then we'll force 4 map packs on it, and that was the controversy with that. But, yeah, Bungie has notoriously been, promise a lot, not quite deliver. Deliver enough that people are interested. So, but yeah, there's a lot of going on there. And then people are saying, well, who is Microsoft going to buy next? No one. Because there's 3 words after every deal like this is consolidation after acquisition.
I'll tell you this much. I'm glad that out of all the things that we learned about this trial.
How much The Last of Us cost?
No, I'm glad that Microsoft didn't get Sega, because I don't want anyone to own Sega. Half the charm of Sega is that they aren't with any given place.
Microsoft doesn't have to buy Sega because Microsoft and Sega are best buddies ever since the days of the Xbox.
They did some sort of thing. I don't know.
Sega and everyone are best buddies.
No. Sega and Microsoft are really big buddies with Microsoft, because one thing, when Microsoft was making the Xbox, Sega sent them experts on how to do this console. And then when the Xbox came out, who do you think was sending them the NBA 2K games and the NFL 2K games and gave them Jet Set Revolution and all that stuff? A lot of games that were going to come out for the Dreamcast came out on the original Xbox.
Sega hasn't been an independent shop since Sammy bought them in 2004. Sega's owned by Sammy.
Right.
To say that anybody's going to buy Sega depends on Sammy being willing to sell them. And I don't think Sammy is willing to sell anything right now. I don't think Sammy's ever been willing.
They still have a special relationship with Sega, though. Microsoft does. Yeah. Although Sega and Nintendo are also buddies, which for anybody from the 90s is sort of like Hitler and FDR got together, because it's like, could you ever imagine? Because remember that old thing, Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Even Sega and Nintendo are friends now.
Yeah, Sonic is a Nintendo character now.
Yep.
Like I would hate the idea of Sega being owned by one of the platforms. I think that things like Sonic and Yakuza and Persona should be console agnostic.
Well, now Microsoft is really buddying with Atlas.
Well,
Atlas
yeah,
is also
'cause-
owned by Sammy.
right. They I thought they were owned by Sega itself, but I guess that would make more sense that it's. I guess it's actually like the whole thing is Sega Sammy nowadays, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What I love are PlayStation fans claiming that, oh no, Sony's going to buy Square Enix. No, they're going to buy Take-Two and all that stuff. No, Sony can't buy things like that. They may be, they may have 40%. They may have 47% of the video game market. And that was in 2022, and Nintendo came in second with 27.7. Microsoft came in third with 27.3. But the difference is that Microsoft is on the level of Google and Apple.
Grand Theft Auto is single-handedly the most profitable franchise in the world, and
Used to be.
Well, no, I think it still is.
Used to be.
What's
I think that's been
overtaken?
I think that's been overtaken by the Elder Scrolls.
Well, either way, it is, if not then right behind the most profitable franchise in the world. I don't like the idea of one platform holder owning Grand Theft Auto any more than I like anyone owning Sega.
But here's the thing: Square Enix had an interesting, because they decided, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to divest all our Western properties, all our Western developers, goodbye, and now we're just going to be a prostitute for hire. You want us to make something? Okay, pay us and we'll do it for you, and just you. Which is why there's Final Fantasy 16 only on PlayStation for the rest from now till time immemorial, and why it's going to be Final Fantasy 7, second edition or whatever they're calling it, the next chapter of Final Fantasy 7.
The remake, yeah.
Yeah. All that is going to be owned completely by Sony because Sony because Square Enix was a contractor and said, okay, we'll make it for you because you paid us. That's how they're not ever going to get bought. Because they've decided they're just going to be a freelancer now. It's going to be interesting with Take-Two. By the way, Strauss Zelnick in May said a very interesting line. It's an old line, but it really resonates right now. He said the old line that a rising tide lifts all boats. For that, what that means is that when something like this happens for the industry, it helps the industry as a whole. Everybody is helped. Even if you say, oh, no, Spyro is going to be exclusive to Microsoft, who cares? I mean, okay, there's a lot of Spyro fans that do care. And by the way, the story of Spyro is really weird. You know, the property just jumped around everybody else until it finally ended up with Activision, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
Activision got a lot of properties that I hope will be able to be...
we know. King's Quest.
That were dormant, and they'll be brought back, and I know at least
for new listeners, this is basically Scott saying, please make a new King's Quest game. Bring back Roberta Williams and just let her.
Spencer said I forget where he said it, E3 somewhere. It's like, and maybe King's Quest, and it's like you had to say
what
that.
A tease.
Oh.
Hey, you know what's even bigger tease? He was wearing a fucking Hexen shirt, and guess who owns Hexen? Oh right, Activision.
Exactly. So now they can revive it or get Cygenus Studios to.
You can go through the entire list of what Activision owns. I mean, they own Prototype.
Yeah.
And this is this, and I know this what's it called? Both irritates and gives TJ with hope, but Microsoft now owns Vicarious Visions.
Yeah, they do.
And he wants them to make the next Tony Hawk game.
I really do. It makes sense. Like you did Tony Hawk 1 and 2, 1 plus 2, that equals Tony Hawk 3.
And then they made Diablo 2 remastered. They did a really good job with Diablo 2 remastered. You have to give them credit.
And they've just been they've just been chained to their desks working on World of Warcraft ever since.
Hey, that's the big thing for me. I have Game Pass Ultimate. I want that to mean I have now a full subscription to World of Warcraft now. I don't have to.
Saying what a waste of Vicarious talents.
There's a lot of developers they have. Oh, by the way, that's
also, just before we move on, and in solidarity with Scott,
what?
Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that I would love to have a new Space Quest game.
Oh, sure. There's two things I want to add, though. One, Microsoft is an extremely progressive company. They've had same-sex partner benefits since 1990. So they're going to take out the broom, and all that sexual misconduct is going to be gone. It's going to be gone. Out of the way. They're going to just kick it out. And the same thing, Microsoft wasn't supportive, but they basically said, okay, we're going to be very hands-off, which is tacitly supporting the unionization of the people at Blizzard. So you're going to have that as well. Microsoft is going to allow them to unionize, which is great for the industry, even if the publishers don't think so. The other thing is about Call of Duty. Apparently, the next Call of Duty game will be in 2025. Think about that for a second. They're not going to do an annual. And everybody at Treyarch is just cheering.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you could see it in the quality of those games. If the way that they were doing it was not sustainable.
Yeah. So Treyarch is probably extremely happy. Hey, guess what? We get to build one, even maybe build one from the ground up. Fortunately, they're not owned by EA, so they won't be forced to use Frostbite with it. So yeah. Any other last words?
No, this was quite a saga, and if all the way that things are looking, it looks like we're about to see the close pretty quickly.
Yeah, and thank God. I mean, here's the thing. This was a seismic event, right? And every earthquake has aftershocks. I'm hoping these are the last of the aftershocks, because I know there's a lot of people with Activision Blizzard fatigue right now. They don't want to hear anything about it. Talk about something else, please.
Yeah, I mean, if this deal closed and you had another deal of that magnitude for the next, even 4 months after, I would just be like, fuck.
Yeah, I heard news that Google buys Sony and Nintendo and EA. And by the way, just so you know, they could do that if they wanted to. They could do that if they wanted to.
Nintendo.
Oh yeah, Nintendo, definitely. No, are you kidding me? Google makes $40 billion after losses. That's their net, not their gross.
Nintendo has a significant amount of shareholders in place that are there specifically to stop a hostile takeover.
We'll be very happy if they get double their stock price. Trust me. We're going to move on. Xbox Games with Gold ending, replaced by Game Pass Core, and this comes from Eurogamer. Microsoft has officially killed off its long-running Xbox Games with Gold offering and lifted the lid on its replacement, Xbox Game Pass Core. Xbox Game Pass Core will make its debut on the 14th of September and is described by Microsoft as, quote-unquote, the evolution of Xbox Live Gold. Bullshit. Okay. Anyways, for the same price of $10 a month or $60 a year, Game Pass Core includes online gaming and a select collection of over 25 games to play with friends around the world that will grow over time. The new offering from Xbox replaces games with gold. They said we wanted to you ran out of games. You said you weren't going to do any backwards compatible games, and there's just so many current gen games that you can place on there. Game Pass Core will launch with multiple titles from Xbox Studios, stuff like Halo Infinite and Ori, and mostly the online shooters, really, and Among Us like that. Anybody who's already a member of Xbox Live Gold will automatically become a Game Pass Core member on the 14th of September with no change in pricing. Meanwhile, Games with Gold will come to a close on the 1st of September. Users will have access to any Xbox One's games redeemed through the service, providing they remain a Game Pass member. As for Xbox 360 titles, Microsoft said that any games previously rendered by Games with Gold will remain in the player's library, which means, guess what? You own them now. So yeah, there's the one bright spot there. If you got a game that was backwards compatible on Games with Gold, well, guess what? They're yours now. You don't have to worry about them vanishing if you drop the subscription, which is nice, but also probably easier for Microsoft. This everybody saw this coming, because for the past 2 years, Games with Gold has been for the most part useless, except for doing multiplayer.
Yeah, and so basically what they're doing is they're putting Games Pass and Games with Gold together into one thing that basically they're inseparable now. And well, I was asking.
Yeah, the thing is that they were scraping the bottom of the barrel with Games with Gold anyway.
Because when you had did Xbox Game Pass Ultimate not come with Xbox Gold?
No, it did come. Yes, it came with everything. And so did Game Pass.
So this seems like This seemed like just an obvious choice, like an obvious direction to me.
Yeah, it's sort of like Sony
and
and their PlayStation Plus tier. Now, Microsoft decided to go with a PlayStation Plus tier, basically.
It just seemed to me like they were going in that direction for a pretty long time, anyways. And so why not just kill just having gold by itself and put it into your Game Pass in some way or another?
Yeah. Hey, Jordan, take the next item.
Sure. I was looking at the list of games. I thought we were going to talk about those.
Well, go ahead if you want to talk about the list of games. I mean, it's not that shocking. I mean, you have Among Us and Ori and
some super old stuff in there. Fallout 4, Fable Anniversary Edition. I don't see anything that immediately makes me go, ooh, I should sign up for that. Stronghold is getting a definitive remaster. This comes from PC Gamer. Stronghold, the classic castle sim from 2001, is being remastered. While there was an HD version of Stronghold released in 2013, complete with cloud saves, higher resolutions, embiggened unit caps, and other tweaks, this will be a more dramatic update. Stronghold Definitive Edition is adding a 14-mission narrative campaign in which players march across the devastated English hinterland in search of Sir Longram's captured kin, as well as a 10-mission castle trail based around famous castles of history, including Warwick, Duntnar, and Marksburg. The original game's military and economic campaigns return as well, so there'll be no getting away from that one objective to bake 300 loaves of bread, which your peasants will immediately eat unless you remember to tell them not to, because hot damn do peasants love eating bread. Stronghold Definitive Edition will also have visuals that have been rebuilt using the source artwork, as well as remastered music and new audio that some of the original voice actors returned for. It'll have multiplayer versus via Steam, as well as Steam Workshop support for sharing maps.
Yeah, I enjoyed this game back in the day, but it was always kind of janky.
I have to be honest, I don't remember Stronghold. It might have been a PC-only game.
Yeah, I remember D&D Stronghold, though, which was even...
Yeah, D&D Stronghold I remember playing.
But that was from the Commodore 64, and it was trying to do 3D and do all this on a system that... See, Stronghold is basically a spiritual successor to D&D Stronghold.
D&D Stronghold, I remember, was not really 3D. It was
3D-like. And
it had screens that you would go across the map, but they were still kind of 2D. And I remember
it was 2D, 3D, sort of like a voxel thing, and the Commodore 64 really struggled with it.
I had it not a Commodore 64. I had it on something better. I think it was a Packard.
Okay.
And it played nicely. I liked having heroes that leveled up, and they had their own little classes, and they went out and battled the monsters. But this looks like a different animal altogether.
It's a similar animal.
Just looking at the wiki, it was a Windows and Mac game in 2001 and 2002, real-time strategy. Yeah. So, yeah, all of the stuff that I would have completely ignored in 2000.
It was kind of here's the thing. It was kind of a 3D, what's it called? It looked like an RTS, but but it was more of a building game that happened to be in 3D. And combat was a very small part of it. It was like the Settlers, really.
In-game map editor, HD re-release, sold over almost 2 million copies.
Yeah.
So that's
big.
Pretty impressive for a real-time strategy game.
It put a hard focus. Like in Age of Empires, you had to wander this entire map. This one was less exploration and more building.
That's kind of cool.
It was sort of like a cross between Age of Empires and SimCity.
I had no idea about this game when I was little, and I loved RTS. I would have loved to be able to build my own castle like the way you can do in what it looks like here.
Well, like I said, it focused on systems in it. Like you had to get the food to build the thing, and then you take the thing, and then it would make bread. Or just a lot of like the Settlers. It just did a lot of thing. But I would love to see if they would remaster Dungeons and Dragons Stronghold.
I went on a roller coaster for this story because when I first saw it on the list, I misremembered and thought we were talking about the John Woo gun ballet game Stranglehold.
Stranglehold was great.
And I got a little disappointed for a sec, and then I Googled this game and started looking at it, and now I think it's dope.
Here's the thing. Stranglehold was okay until the very, very ending and the final cutscene, then it became awesome.
I mean, it's a John Woo video game. Which,
Yeah, but I mean, but like I said, the gameplay was sort of pedestrian, right? Except for the bullet
Sure.
time and all that stuff, or when you had the rocket launcher and then you went into bullet time and then you had infinite rockets and you just blew everything up. But the ending was fantastic.
it was never about the gunplay. It was about slow motion, diving shots, and dubs.
You say that until you have the what's it called? I forgot what they called it when the birds fly and he gets infinite ammo. When you get
No,
infinite,
that's what I'm saying.
but there's the infinite ammo with the rocket launcher and you just wreck shit. There was so many things that were destructible in the game too. That was the entire point of the game, is that almost everything's destructible. So you were just wrecking shit literally. You see all the stuff break. If you had a tough enemy and you went into that mode, it's like, oh well, I win. You never had a chance.
It sounds like the end of the movie Desperado, where you have a perfectly fine revenge action film, and then all of a sudden a dude's shooting rockets out of a guitar case.
Well, no, you do it during the game, but I'm saying the ending of Stranglehold was just him like, here we go again, and just having a big grin as he faced the camera and started shooting. I loved that ending. It's just like, yeah, it's a big smile ending. And by the way, the main character was modeled on, oh god, you know what I'm talking about. The usual
Chow
hero.
Yun-Fat.
Yeah, Chow Yun-Fat. Yeah, it was yeah, they did a digital copy of Chow Yun-Fat. By the way, we haven't. This is way off top. Well, it's sort of on topic in that I do a lot of background acting work, and when I read that the studios wanted to be able to scan me and then pay me once and then use my image forever for anything they wanted, that gave me chills in a bad way.
Hard note.
That was
Hard note.
That reminds me of like 20 years ago when before CDs came around, publishers wanted to own an artist's music indefinitely, and then they decided not to because they realized, oh wait, no one's ever going to sign with us ever again if we try to do that. And I think they better realize that if they want to do the background actors, well, guess what? They're never going to have another background actor in their life. They're going to have to make these cheap, what's it called? We were talking about streaming before, and the one thing I wanted to say was that you're talking about video game streaming. Video streaming is going to die soon. It's going to die within the year. Because you know what people are discovering? Old-fashioned cable and television ad-based revenue is a lot higher than streaming revenue. They're finding out there's a lot more money with the traditional ad revenue that you get from television and cable. Who'd have thunk?
Because the OG contracts never got rewritten. They're the same contracts from 40 years ago.
It's like, yeah. So Disney is going to dump Disney Plus in the year. There's no point in having Peacock. There's no point in having Universal and all that stuff. It's going to be like it is. You can have like maybe 2 or 3 streamers who are just going to buy the content from you and then play it, right? And you'll get a little tiny percentage of that. You'll get a percentage of that. That's probably what it's going to go back to. It's going to be Netflix and another person like Hulu if they're divested from Disney, or some version of that. And, you'll have a few streaming, like 3 or 4 streaming services, and then you'll have regular programming.
This got so very far away from a conversation about a 2001 strategy game.
Yeah, but we were talking about Microsoft having to divest cloud streaming in the UK.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened if CMA stood their ground and all of a sudden the UK can't have any Xbox or Activision games.
The whole strike going on with the actors and the writers is just horrific to me. You had that one studio executive coming out saying, "Oh no, it's cool. We'll just keep it going until they can't afford rent anymore, and then they'll come crawling back."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the National Labor Relations Board loves hearing that.
Yeah. That's not negotiating in good faith.
No. And at some point, they may actually go to the NLRB, so we'll see. From the people I know who have insiders with the negotiations, this will probably last until September. And then there's be some deal made because at some point they're going to run out of content. You can't just have reality shows over and over and over and over again.
Right.
People are sick of reality shows too. That's what they did last strike in 2000. It's like they decided to do a lot of reality shows, and it made the reality show boom, and then it just stopped. This went to a dark place. You're right, TJ. Look for
if you go out to join a picket line, we'll all support you though, right?
I've been picketing. Actually, I picketed with the WGA when I was visiting LA, and the actors hadn't been in strike yet.
Oh, okay.
I live in New York. There's plenty of picketing to do. Actually, that's how I got in SAG-AFTRA, because I helped with the strike. Sort of cheated my way in, but I helped the union along the way, so there you go. Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with the industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy your feedback. Send us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave some iTunes comments. You can find me on Twitter still at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Charter Moore.
Jordan, I'm guessing you're not on
really
Twitter.
Find me.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't think Jordan would be on Twitter.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Lemmy. You can find me there.
Are you going to be on, what's the name of that thing?
Blue Sky.
No, not Blue Sky, the other one.
Threads?
Threads, yeah. Are you going to be on Threads?
I'm not going to be on Threads. My wife is on Threads.
Really?
Yeah.
I
For
actually...
a lot of people, if you just had an Instagram account, you were already there. So, like,
yeah.
all you had to do was just say...
I looked at all the restrictions, and I was like, yeah, no.
By the way, Jordan, I'm one of the people who actually got pre-ordered the $300 Constellation Edition of Starfield.
Oh, wow.
I'm an easy mark. Well, here's the thing. I don't have a smartphone. I don't have a smartwatch. It's a good way to get a free smartwatch.
That is a good way to get a free smartwatch. I've got one sitting here that I don't use.
Yeah, but I don't know. I stopped wearing watches for the past 20 years, and now my wrist feels kind of empty.
Yeah, that's true.
That watch does look sweet. And
yeah.
Quite frankly, like, what an upgrade from the clunky Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
Latch onto your arm from the Fallout 4.
And you had to add your cell phone to it too.
That thing was so cheap, though. It was just a clunky, cheap plastic.
Yeah, it was literally like strapping a Playmobil set to your arm.
I will say the Starfield controller and headphones look nice, but I'm not going to get them.
Well, they're just it's just a regular controller.
I know, but but I'm going to tell you something. The controller looks real good, really good.
Yeah.
It's real stylish.
I saw both. They look really good.
But the fact is that it's just a regular gamepad, and I already have two. And I'm not the sort of person who just collects gamepads like Hummels.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got one that works. It's fine. I bought two just in case my wife wants to play Diablo with me, but that's kind of...
Wait, which Diablo do you play?
3.
3? Oh, okay. I'm going through 2 again, and I wisely held off getting 4 because I knew that the deal was going to go through, and yeah, Diablo 4 is going to be on Game Pass at some point, so...
Well, it's going to be on Game Pass, but you have all of the usual problems with the live service.
Oh, that's the other thing, is that once they iron out those problems, because all the problems they've been having has basically been... imbalance, and also it's not a bug, it's a feature. Have you seen people are opening these chests and they keep spewing out gold, and they don't stop spewing out gold. It's like a gold volcano. It just won't stop. No, I mean, Diablo 2 is perfection. So, anyways, everybody but Jordan, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.
Thanks, guys. It's fun seeing everybody again.
And also,
fun having you back.
Yeah, we had to have you for this particular episode with the ABK stuff, because it's just too industry wide to ignore. We had to get someone who would be eating and drinking and sleeping the corporate stuff here.
I would love to tell you a lot more about that, but I legally cannot.
Understood.
Yeah, well, next week you can tell us all about Jagged Alliance 3, TJ. I promise.
I have so much to say.
I also finished Midnight Sun, so I have a lot to say about that too.
Nice.
Anyways, see you later. Bye-bye.